I believe it is going. Very good. And then let's start, everyone. Happy Friday. Thanks, everyone, for joining. The topic today is how you can use your breath and different styles of breathing to condition your nervous system. It's one of my favorite quotes. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit, by Aristotle. And if you guys think about the one thing that we do more than anything else in our entire life is we breathe. One of the things, and it's so important for our nervous system and for our well-being. Breath is the one thing that none of us can go without, right? It's the first thing that we do when we're born, and it's also the very last thing that we do when we pass. It is so essential, right? We have the essential things we need as food. And if we think about it, you can really go without food a few weeks, right? You'd be fine, not ideal, but you could do it. Water, a few days. How long can you go without your breath? It's that important. It's that important that your nervous system is adapting to doing it for you automatically, right? Because we can't forget to breathe. But when you know how you can use this, because you do have full control over it, it's an entire toolbox that you open up where you have the ability to feel better all on your own. So let's dive into it. I want to cover today what is our nervous system, so we have an understanding of what is it that we're really tapping into. Your nervous system is a communication network in the body. It's how you pull information in. It's also how you project information out. It does break into two major parts. You have your central nervous system, which is made up of your brain, right? The processing center, and then your spinal cord. And then the peripheral nervous system, which is a web of nerves that project out through the rest of your body. So nerves right at the end of your fingertips that you can sense hot and cold with. The touch of your skin, it's your taste, it's your smell, it's your vision, it's all part of your nervous system. And most of it is outward, where we pull information from the surrounding area around you, from the outside in. And what tends to happen is that it overstimulates your nervous system, especially with all the computers that we have around, even with traffic, right? That we have to look right and left and making sure that we're not hitting everybody. All the information that comes through your phone, if you're scrolling, right? Like that split seconds of information that you put in, it's all input. And what's happening nowadays, and I think it's really common to experience stress, mental stress, that is, not physical stress, because it does process in your body very differently. So important to understand, we're talking about mental stress here. Anxiety, sensations of being overwhelmed. And it's really common to experience nowadays because our system is being overloaded with information getting put in. And really throughout evolution, we're not designed for this. So how can we evolve and how can we process this? And then how can we use our breath to make sure that we stay within that good zone, right? Where I'm not overwhelmed, but excited, and where I am not anxiety, stressed out, right, at the other end. And then just I go shut down completely. So how can I keep myself in this happy balance? The nervous system controls all of the connections in your body. It tells the heart to beat. It tells your lungs to breathe. It controls your movement. It controls how you speak, the way you articulate things. It controls your learning, thinking, and your memory. Any questions so far? So far, so good. Okay. Now, dialing in the nervous system, there is a spectrum in your nervous system, and I think most of you are familiar with this. The high end at the very top is your fight or flight, and it's an automatic dial in where you are in a situation where you absolutely have to decide for your well-being, for your safety, what is it that you have to do, right? We're thinking about things like being attacked by a bear or being attacked by a shark. Your nervous system takes over, right? Where a lot of people talk about if something dramatic happens for them where they really have to worry about their safety, they kind of black out and everything else takes over to survive. And then the other end of the nervous system is your low end, whereas the rest, repair, digest, it's really good quality sleep. Both of these ends of the spectrum is essential for our survival. Now, what happens when your nervous system goes all the way up to fight or flight? It prepares the body really just for that, and it floods your system. It releases adrenaline from your brain. It increases blood flow through your limbs, because most of the time you have to get away, right? So I'm going to need to use my legs. I'm going to need to use my arms. How fast can I get away or run away from danger? That's really what it's designed through for evolution. And then at the low end, at the rest and repair, it prioritizes blood flow when I am in the system, blood flow through my internal organs, because it's likely I'm laying down or seated down. And so the blood flow from my legs, and those are big muscles, it now prioritizes going in through my liver, my kidneys, my organ, good digestion, okay? The way I really like to imagine this system is like an instrument, right? If you are musically in tuned, I always wanted to play the flute. I never got the chance. Well, it's never too late. I haven't gotten the chance to yet. But it's like playing an instrument. You want to be able to play every single note of that for it to be a really well-rounded experience. And how do we do that? How do we get in control of this? What if you guys are familiar with, I follow Dr. Andrew Huberman. He is a Stanford professor. He's fantastic. He's really good at explaining information, and he has a really good podcast too. I listen to a lot of him. And they have done a study where they have discovered that your diaphragm is an organ that's made of skeletal tissue, and it's made to contract. Now, why is this important? Your diaphragm, and if you look at this little picture that I've put here, do you guys see this yellow? That is your diaphragm. Most of you are probably familiar with this. We used to think this, at least in anatomy, is what I learned in school, that this was simply just a muscle, right? It was simply just something that helps you breathe, where it contracts and releases, and that is what it does. But now they understand through further research that it's actually an organ. It's an organ that connects your brain directly into your body. And since it is your organ that helps you breathe, it's the only one that you can control, that you can mindfully go contract and release. And we're going to practice that today at the very end of the session. The reason why this is important is if you can dial in your diaphragm to go at a certain rate, it controls your nervous system of being elevated or being lower, calming down. The rhythm of the breath that you have throughout the day makes a huge difference, because if you think about in certain situations, so say that you're in a fight flight attack, your breathing pattern is a whole lot more rapid, right? You're breathing like elevates your nervous system. Versus when you're in a rest and a repair mode, the breath that you have is calm, it's long, it's likely through your nose. And the way that you breathe throughout the day directly affects how you feel. So let's say that you are going into a really important meeting where you're starting to feel that your anxiety is rising. If you can take a moment to sit down and control your breathing pattern where you're consciously slowing it down, it starts to down-regulate your nervous system, where your performance in the presentation won't be anxiety driven, but you get a hold of this, right? You get control of how you feel, and hence your presentation also gets much better. We see this in professional athletes all the time. It's called getting into the zone. So when you see kickers in a football game, their one and only job, right, is to get that ball through the lines. And there is a ton of pressure on them. There's thousands of people in the stands screaming. There's a lot of distraction going on. And so when people that are doing the commentating saying, okay, this guy is in the zone, it's exactly what it means. He downregulates his nervous system. So the only thing that he can focus on and is really tuned into is getting that ball. There's no nerves, there's no anxiety there. And his performance is extremely good because he's in full control of how he feels. Any questions about this so far? So I actually want to practice this with you guys. I would like for each of you to take a tall seat, bring your hands and then make, can you guys see me? Make little knife edges with them like this. Then bring these knives and then stick them right where the slit of your rib cage is, like right where it starts to open, and then hinge forward like you're trying to, if you were ever kids before, I hope you were, when you were kiddos before. If you've ever done this, kids always do this, or at least I see them. Stick your fingers right underneath your rib cage and then hinge forward just a little bit. Right there where you feel that tough with your fingertips, that's your diaphragm. Now stay right here and then together take a deep breath in and then release. Stick your fingers back in. Do you feel how it got pushed out? Breathe in. Breathe out. That's where your diaphragm is, right there. And there's many different styles of breath. There's nose in, mouth in. If you're familiar with yoga breath, if you're familiar with alternate nostril style breathing, these are all tools that you can learn about. Today, we're going to keep it really simple. There's probably hundreds of different styles of breath that you can do, and it's a yes and a yes and a yes and a yes. The question is why? What do I want to use this for? Do I need to calm myself down? Do I need better focus? Do I need better energy? Do I want to go get some really good quality sleep, right? It's a yes and a yes. The question is why. Now, belly breathing is what we're going to be doing today because it's midday, it's Friday, and I thought it's probably a good thing to give everyone a boost of energy. So let's talk about why belly breathing. The way that you make energy is inside you. It doesn't come from coffee, it doesn't come from tea, you guys. You make energy. And your energy currency is called ATP. Yeah. Think of it like the dollar sign in your bank account. Now, the way you make this is by pulling a lot of air in, then getting that all the way down into your tissues, and then a gas exchange of O2 and CO2 going in and then going out. And that's really the process of this. Now, with exercise specifically, athletes or people that are generally more active have better energy. Why? Because would you agree that when you're walking around or if you're doing anything active, you are breathing more than when you're sedentary, when you're seated down? And your body responds to this. So let's say that you sit for 8 to 14 hours a day, which is really common that I hear. What tends to happen is that whatever you repeatedly do, your body adapts to. And so if you're telling your body that, hey, I'm not spending very much energy, and we're talking about physical energy, then your body goes, all right, I'm not spending this stuff, so I'm not really making this stuff either, right? Versus when you're really active, you're spending energy, so you're making more energy because you're breathing more. Now, the anatomy of this, and this is why I love these photos so much. When you look at this top one, do you guys see how your lungs are kind of shaped like a triangle? At the very top, there's not that much little alveoli, these little sacs at the second picture that you see. At the bottom is where the highest concentration of alveoli is, at the wide part of your lungs, right where it sits onto the diaphragm. The reason why this is important is because when you sit for a long time, and especially if you take on the posture of forward hinging, you're actually cutting off or restricting really some of the bottom part of your lungs, which means if you're breathing really shallow, little sips of breath, out of that little bit of air that you pull in, even less actually gets into your system because these little alveoli sacs are at the very bottom part of your lungs. And when you sit to breathe shallow, you breathe to the very top part of your lungs, small and short sips. Hence, you feel like in the beginning of the day, you have better energy, and then throughout the rest of the day, it kind of goes wah, 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 right? Not feeling so energized, not feeling so alert. Your focus isn't so great. And this is why posture is one of the really important things if you sit for a long period of time, that your rib cage is elevated so you get that air all the way down into the low parts. But again, this is also how you make energy. And so the transfer of this, and I don't want to bore you, but you pull in oxygen, It travels all the way down to the low lobes of your lungs. It gets into the alveoli sacs, which then gets it in through its hemoglobin. I think of it like a little car. Oxygen gets in, and then through your bloodstream, hemoglobin transports the oxygen all the way down into wherever you need it. Let's say that you're working out your legs, then more oxygen goes down to your legs. Let's say that you're working out your arms, then more oxygen goes into your arms. Let's say that you're mentally really active, then a whole lot more oxygenation flow we need up here, right? Because that is how I can focus. Hemoglobin takes oxygen down to wherever you need it. And then CO2 is not a waste product. CO2 is incredibly important for that oxygen to actually get into your system. When we generate CO2, it means that there is not much oxygen wherever we're thinking, let's say your biceps or legs. I generate CO2 and then I get oxygen down here. For the oxygen to get into the tissues, CO2 has to unlock hemoglobin and then they do a gas exchange. CO2 gets into hemoglobin, oxygen gets into you, and then hemoglobin gets oxygen, or rather CO2, back out. Any questions about this? That is how you make energy. Still good? All right. Did you know that an average human being has the lung capacity to pull in with each and every breath 5 to 6 liters of oxygen? And I put that picture right there so you can actually visualize how much that is. 6 of those bottles, can you imagine drinking six bottles of water, go back to back to back to back to back? I hope you don't. Please don't. But that's how much air we have the capacity to pull in. And how much do you actually pull in on average? About a 0.5 liter is how much you pull in with each breath. And that determines your energy. In these slides, I've actually quoted research proves, and it's a 2019 Nobel Prize research. I linked it right there. If you want to read it, I'm also happy to send it to you. It's won the Nobel Prize in 2019 that the number one thing that predicts your health and your longevity, how well, how healthy, and how long you live, is your total lung capacity. It's not how fast you run. It's not how heavy you lift. Eating habits, sure, how much water you're in there. It's all on the list, you guys. But the number one thing is how well you breathe. Because remember, I can go without food, weeks, water, days, oxygen. And the better I use this stuff, the more my system generates good feeling. We'll get into the slides, but it provides me with a lot of nutrients and a lot of things that I absolutely need for my health. Oxygen is also the only thing that's scientifically proven that changes your blood chemistry. If you guys have ever heard of pH balances, and then there's a ton of different waters out there that say alkaline water, alkaline foods, alkaline diets, and I'm not saying don't eat them. I'm saying that the only thing that's research proof that actually changes your gut health and blood chemistry is oxygen. Why? Because if you drink alkaline food or drink alkaline water, the first place that it goes into your gut, and gut bacteria is going to be determined also by your blood, right? And so your gut is going to process that food first before it ever touches your bloodstream. And so it doesn't change your blood chemistry, it changes in your gut and then it goes through there. Oxygen gets actually into your blood. And so we can physically measure if you've ever had a pH stick before. One of the ways that I've done it with a company I've worked with before is peeing on the pH sticks. You can pee on the pH stick and then check whatever your alkalinity is there and then do breath work. And all of the time, 99% of the time, the alkalinity starts to go up. Your pH balance goes up. Why is this important? You want your blood to be more balanced on the higher side of pH versus the lower side of pH, because on the higher side, you're a whole lot healthier. On the low side is where you become a little more acidic. And in acidity is where a lot of the disease, Alzheimer's, cancers, and all the rest of the stuff exists. The more alkaline you are, that's why those diets starting to become a really big fad. The better you feel, the healthier you are. And so for this, the only thing proven to do it, guys, it's free. Oxygen is how much you breathe. So When you do breathe really well and you pull in a lot of oxygen into your system, it unlocks a pharmacy cabinet in your brain. It's all the chemicals that we really like serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine. Question?
ओके पूछती हूँ अब सब मीटिंग में ही है ना अब सब खा रहे होंगे तो मैं ले जाऊंगी आके
You may not be talking to me. I think you might not realize that you're not on mute. Was that a question for me?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Okay. This is stuff that we naturally make, and a lot of people that deal with clinical depression, what happens is the serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine is a whole lot lower side, where your mood, it directly affects how you feel. You guys, your mood goes wah wah wah, and so we don't really need any outside substances to make us feel better if we just know how to use our natural system and our own pharmacy cabinet to elevate how you feel. The reason why studies say that exercise really helps you feel better, guys, it honestly, if that's what I'm doing it for, if I just want to elevate my mood, it genuinely doesn't matter what you do, as long as you're moving and breathing, because that means I'm pulling in a lot of oxygen, my bloodstream is going much faster through my body, and I'm elevating this. I'm elevating my mood by my brain releasing serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine. There is, like I said, different styles of breath. Nostril breathing, like we practice in yoga classes, it taps into your parasympathetic nervous system, which then helps you calm down and relax. So can you guys do this with me? Seal your lips. Together, take a deep breath. Inhale through your nose. Fill up your chest. Hold it for just a moment. And then on the count of 5, release through your nose. So let's get it. Through your nose out on 5, 4, 3, 2, empty on 1. Do that again. Inhale through your nose. Hold. And release on 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. When you breathe just like this, it calms down your heart rate. It lowers your blood pressure. It down regulates your nervous system where you're starting to get into the rest and repair mode. Anytime that you feel that you're getting really anxious, overworked, your nervous system is going up, maybe your reactions to your kiddos aren't exactly what you want it to be. Have you guys ever heard someone say when someone's having a rough day, like, but just take a breath, take a deep breath, right? Why? It comes so naturally that that's what we go to, but because our body does it for us, we don't think about it all the time. Nostril breathing calms you down. On the other end, rapid mouth breathing elevates the nervous system. You become more alert, more excited, and that's exactly what we're going to practice today for the last 5 minutes. The reason why we're going to practice mouth breathing, and I know that's not the most attractive, but hopefully there's no one around you. For the reason why that this is a whole lot bigger hole than your nostrils, and through your mouth you get to pull in a whole lot more air in. And remember, you have the capacity for 5 to 6 liters of air. So we're going to try to maximize that today. For the last piece of a little bit of origin, I thought this was amazing. The verb inhale originates from the Latin word inspirate, meaning to breathe in, to influence, to guide, to inspire. Yes. The verb exhale originates from the Latin word expirare, meaning breathe out, to perish, to expire. And it really is. First thing you do when you're born, you inhale. And the last thing you do when you pass is you exhale, you expire. The one who has gradually practiced, developed, and brought to perfection the mindfulness of the in and out breath, it illuminates the entire world, like the moon freed from the clouds. A quote by Buddha. Okay, team. Any questions so far? I really love that quote. Awesome. So let's practice. What I would love for all of us to do is find a really comfortable seat. If you can, I would love for you to lay down, get on your back, actually get onto the ground. We're going to practice a really, really brief breath work because we have 4 minutes left. What I want for you guys to do is feel for where the breath goes. Yeah. I'll give you just a moment to get ready. Definitely have support behind you so you can relax your body completely. I don't want any muscle contractions. I don't want your chest to have to be held up. Everything gets a nice place to relax. And then when you're ready, place one hand on your chest and then place one hand on your belly. Close your eyes and just listen for my voice. Open your mouth, and I know it's not a natural thing, but try for it anyway. And then imagine like you're pulling air in through a straw. Actually make the sound because it helps you breathe a little deeper. Together, send it into your chest. Take a deep breath in. It sounds like this. Fill all the way up to the top of your lungs to where you cannot pull it anymore, and then hold. Open mouth, release. Do that 2 more times through your mouth into your chest. Breathe in. And hold. You saw those pictures. Imagine your lungs filling up like 2 really big balloons. And in the beginning, it's a little tight. And then the more you do it, the looser and looser and the bigger they get. Open mouth, release. One more to your chest. Deep breath in. And hold. As you hold, imagine that gas exchange. One going in, one going out. A really nice give and take. And then open mouth, release. Okay, we're going to transition down. The first few is kind of tight. Do it anyway. Together, take a deep breath and send it into your belly only. Deep breath in. And hold. It should feel very different, a little restricting even, as you push your belly button gently down and out. It's like your best Homer Simpson. You're stretching through your core. You're contracting your diaphragm, pushing down and out, creates more room for the low lobes of your lungs. Then open mouth, release. 2 more. Deep breath into your belly. And hold. Make sure that every muscle in your body is relaxed. You're not holding onto anything other than your diaphragm pushing out. Don't arch your back. And then release. Last one here. Deep breath into your belly. And hold. Can you guys feel as that oxygen is starting to roam around your body? And release. Okay. Relax your hands down by your side. You felt where the breath goes. For the next 30 breaths, and we're going to do it, for the next 30 breaths, I'd like for you to connect the two. We're going to start from the very bottom and then work your way all the way up to the top of your lungs so you get full lung capacity. Exhale out all your air. And then let's start together. Together, start, take a deep breath in, go belly, then all the way up to chest. And let it go. Deep breath in, belly, chest, fill to the top. And let it go. We're going to speed it up. Stay with me. Deep in, go belly, chest. And let it go. Close your eyes, just feel it. Deep in. And let it go. Fully up, you're energizing your body. And let it go. Hear your breath. Deep in, go belly, chest. And let it go. Fully up. And let it go. Let's go, guys. Deep breath in, belly, chest. And let it go. Fully in, you're awakening your body, energizing. And let it go. Fully in, don't stop. And let it go. Deep in, there's no limits. And let it go. Fully up, belly, chest, commit to it. And let it go. 5 more, fully up. And let it go. Deep in, come on. And let it go. Fully in, relax your body, let the lungs do the work. And let it go. Fully in, you're oxygenating, every single cell gets some. And let it go. Last 2, fully in. And let it go. Last one, guys, stay strong. Deep in, go belly, chest. And let everything out. Empty out your lungs and hold. Hold your breath on empty. Keep holding. Your body, the oxygenation, saturation in your lungs is at 100% right now. As you hold your breath, you're allowing CO2 to generate. And as you make more, oxygen is flooding into your tissues. You're packing you with energy. Hold it till it gets a little bit uncomfortable. You're toning your lungs. You're literally growing the roots in your lungs to get bigger and bigger. Okay, team, last one. Together, take a really deep breath in. Inhale all the way to the top of your lungs. Now hold at the top. If this feels good, tighten up your core a little bit. You're pushing that oxygen from the center of you everywhere out into your tissues. And release. Find your normal breath. Slowly start to open up your eyes. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, maybe take a few circles in your wrists. A breathwork style like that, it helps to elevate your system. It helps to energize and cleanse. It really helps you get out of your head, because when you're breathing so intensely, you forget about everything else, and really all you can think about is breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. You get rid of all the clutter from the front part of your brain. It's a dynamic meditation. Did anyone feel tingly at all? Feel a little like clammy in your hands, a little tingly even in your face or jaws? You may or may not. It does take, depending on you personally, 30 rounds of breath, about 5 times, just like that, gets you to be a little more higher pH balance. It rises your alkalinity. And when you feel that tingliness, that clamminess a little bit, it gives you a good indicator that you're doing it right. Okay, team, thank you so much for your time. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. As of today will be the very first class starting at 12:45. There will be a 30-minute breathwork class on the schedule virtually every Friday. I'll be guiding it. We're going to get pretty intense with the breath work, you guys. So if that is something that of interest to you, join me. It does help to increase your lung capacity. Yes, number one thing that predicts your health. It helps with endurance. It helps with focus. It helps with meditation. If that's something that of interest to you, please join me. Thank you so much for your time. I'm going to post a recording on the Qualcomm YouTube channel so you get to rewatch it again, share it with your friends if you thought that was helpful, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Dee. That was great.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Good
Can you
job.
share the link to that meeting, the 12:45 kind of weekly meeting?
Yes. So can you join the email list that we send out? It's the Live Well, Work Well email list. You have an entire schedule on there of all of the classes and the login information for that. So that's the email list you'll want to join. What I'd love for you to do is send Donna an email and then she can add you to the list. If you can't find it, send me a message personally. This is Donna. Donna does all of our newsletters for a little longer. Donna. So please email her or message me, and then I can send you that link where you can join. There's a specific Zoom link because it's a Zoom meeting that you'll want to log into, and then you have a login code, and then you can join all the classes because Qualcomm subsidizes that for you guys.
All right.
Okay,
Thank you.
You're very welcome. I do have to jump because I'm starting a class. Donna, do you have anything else to add?
No, just if anyone needs the information about today's class, if you're not already getting the newsletters, if you are, that information went out in the Monday newsletter. So maybe go back and check your emails from Monday. If you truly aren't on the email list, send me an email in the next little few minutes and I'll get that link out to as many people as I can.
Awesome. Cool, guys. Thanks again for your time, and then we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Katie just put the email list in the chat for anybody that wants to join the newsletter email list, and that won't generate you getting that link. So if you want the link right now immediately, just send me an email. That's the fastest way to get it done.
Awesome.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Steve. Great job.
Guys, thank you.
See you. Thank you.